Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming. It's a good turnout. Surprising, especially on a bleak night like tonight. My name is Nigel Bywater. I, along with my illustrious wife, own and run the Belvoir office in Bedford. So, just a little bit about this evening. There's a number of speakers. Myself starting the ball rolling, followed briefly by Charlie Walker from Tax Assist, to give you a bit of insight into the tax. Once you've woken up from that, Heidi's going to give us a talking to about mortgages and finances. And then Zori's going to be here talking to you about compliance and legislation and all the juicy details that we have to comply to now. So, and finally, my colleague Andrew, where is he? He's outside, so he's going to be talking a little bit about cannabis farms. So, and end on a high, as they say. So yes, Belvoir in Bedford. We formed the business in March 2003. We're part of the Belvoir Group. It's a franchise network of over 165 offices nationwide. We are not an estate agent, we are a letting agent. That is our core business. We focus purely on lettings, although we do help with sales. I do a lot of sales for landlords, selling properties on to help them realise their assets. Therefore, we have a lot of long-term clients because our business model is based on building relationships over time. So, lots of clients we've had on our books for in excess of 12 years. So what I wanted to talk about really is why. What options are there at the moment for property and why you should invest? Well, it's been proven that property is an excellent long-term investment. There's things that, can be had from property that can't be from other investments. It should be part of an overall package of investment, not just the sole source. So, there are major structural issues in the housing market in the UK. As a country, we're not building enough property. It's well documented, and consequently, that shortage is pushing up prices. Back in the 80s, a lot of social housing was sold off. This created a vacuum, and the private renter sector has filled that accordingly. So, but another elephant in the room is population. These are Bedford Borough Council figures. You can see over the next 20 years, the population is going to increase by the best part of 30,000. So it's something that needs to be considered. That's realistically, you're going to be looking at potentially 15 to 20,000 houses are going to need to be built in order to accommodate those people. So where? That's the issue. So with that in mind, we now have this thing on the horizon that everyone talks about, Brexit. Now, I'm sick of hearing about it, and I'm sure most people are because it's everywhere. But it has serious opportunities for property. The market is full of uncertainty at the moment. There's a lot of people that are not selling. They're just sitting and waiting to see what happens. It affects the whole economy. Right? There are opportunities arising, but the house market in London has fallen for the 5th consecutive quarter. For average prices have fallen, and that's having a knock-on effect. And there are signs that the prices are beginning to fall in Bedford. If you visit a lot of estate agents, you'll see how quiet they are, and it has worrying implications for them. But it does represent an opportunity for people to invest. Because as prices fall, there will be opportunities to come and get some good quality property. From now, right through to what I call B Day, which is the 29th. So, simple question is, how do we identify these sort of properties that we want to buy? Well, as I said, it has proven to be an excellent investment. But in order to identify good property, it's important to identify two critical factors that can contradict each other. Identify the prospects that have a good balance of these factors is the key. Yeah, and treat any investment that we make as a business transaction. I plan it and look at all the various aspects of purchasing so that it helps us realise the potential of what we can achieve. First of these factors is what we call yield. Now this is basically what you will earn each month from property or annually. In Bedford, yields are over 5% worth looking at. And simply put, yield is really what money you get. So for example, if you invest £200,000, you get a rental income of $8,850, that gives you an annual income of $10,200. That is a 5.1% yield, that's gross figures. So, now, there aren't many investments that you could get that sort of thing. However, yield is not the only factor, because there is capital growth to consider. Now that's what properties will increase by over the period that we own them. Yeah. As I said, because of the structural issues in the property market and the shortage, the market is driving upwards all the time because people can't get the quality that they want, the properties that they want. So asking prices now in Bedford are pretty much what they were at pre-credit crunch levels, i.e. the financial crisis. We'll remember that 10 years ago, believe it or not. It's a surprising amount of time gone by. And this lack of supply means that prices are constantly being pushed up as I said. And that illustrates the point. Since 2005, prices are now 57.5% higher than they were then. So that's a 4.5% increase over that, per annum. So, as I said, it's a question of balance. On one hand, you've got your yield, and on the other hand, you've got capital growth. You have too much of one at the expense of the other. But what you should be doing is trying to identify the properties that have a good balance of both. And we can help with that by getting a good balance of these two factors. Now, there are many investors out there who will look purely at the yield side. They're what we call yield chasers. They're just looking at what they will earn each month and maximise that. But that's often a short-term plan. It's often at the expense of capital growth. So, but it's also important to remember that if you concentrate too much on capital growth, you don't want to do that at the expense of yield, because you end up having to subsidise the property at your own potentially. Now, this map, this is what we call a heat map, and this map basically illustrates areas of Bedford that offer either good capital growth or good yield. And it's the areas that are in between. It's the areas in between that we're most interested. The red areas and the darker shades are the good capital growth areas. The green, colder areas are the yield areas. But the yellow areas are areas that will offer a good balance of the two. So you can see, just to give you a bit of scale, this is obviously Goldenton Road. We've got Kimbarton Road. This is going out to Paul Radcliffe Way, Clapham that way, and then down to Kempston, Elstow, that sort of stuff.